Good day, dear students. We are almost reaching the end of the short story. We have, after this, just one more class where we finish off the story. So, in the previous class, you have seen how uh, Jack protested against the way he is being brought up in his house, and that is like a Chinese boy speaking Chinese and playing with the Chinese playthings, like which he thinks, or the paper menagerie which his mother had made him as part of his Chinese inheritance. And in the new neighborhood, he got a new friend, or the friend came over to play with him, bringing with his toys. And Mark, the boy, and Jack started playing. Mark with his Star Wars figures, and Jack with his paper animals, which his mother had made him, especially with the tiger. And this tiger was so ferocious that it broke the Obi-Wan Kenobi, the main figure of the Star Wars action figures. So it is not just breaking that, but later Mark was so angry that he started making fun of him, that your mother makes toys out of trash. And finally, when he got angry, when this paper tiger broke the favorite toy of his, that he just destroyed the paper tiger and put it to one side. And in school also, Mark being a very popular boy, uh, Jack was teased a lot. And so after coming from school, he protested and said, from today onwards, I'm going to have the American type of food and things. He demanded a lot of things, a few things. And the mother tried to console him. No use. He refused to talk to her unless she talked back in English. And poor mother can talk only in Chinese. Dad can talk to him in English, and dad went and bought him a set of Star Wars action figures. We have seen that in the till so far we have come across the situation. Jack gave Obi-Wan Kenobi to Mark to replace Mark's Obi-Wan Kenobi, which his paper tiger, had destroyed or broken. And Obi-Wan Kenobi is the main figure of the Jedi clan. And if you look up about Star Wars, you'll find the whole details. And the figures were made, or the toys were made as a set of all the figures of the Star Wars, because at that time Star Wars action figures were so popular as film and also as the playthings and as the toys, that Mark owned one, and it was costly also. So that brought him a set of Star Wars action figures, and Jack, in all his honesty, to be on friendly terms with Mark, gave him Obi-Wan Kenobi and became a friend of Mark's. So he packed the paper menagerie in a large shoebox and put it under the bed. He now do not want any of the paper animals which his mother made, and her life into it, so that the animals started playing, or this is what the boy believed. So he do not want them. He is now putting aside anything and everything that is connected to his mother, who is a Chinese. And so the paper menagerie was put in a large shoebox, because it is a shoebox will be quite enough to put all these paper animals, and he put it under the bed. But as a young boy, he felt that the animals escaped from the shoebox and made so much noise that he shoved the box into the attic, because the animals just cannot contain or just remain there in the shoebox. They just escaped from there and they made a lot of noise. And he just pushed them back into the shoebox and took them to the attic and put them there. So if mom talked to him in Chinese, he refused to answer. because he is insistent that she must talk to him in English, and he doesn't want to be a chink. Though in appearance and everything he is a chink, he had inherited his mother's looks, and he just do not want to speak English, speak Chinese also. So he is now rebelling, and that rebellion started from there, and it went on for a number of years. He is a boy and a young boy, and this mother is now in a situation, and whenever she talked to him in in Chinese, he refused to answer, even though he understood what mom is talking. And there was a rapport between the mother and the son, but now he is now ignoring that rapport and refusing to answer her Chinese. He is refusing his Chinese inheritance. Again, you will find Jack was slowly becoming American, pushing aside his Chinese heritage and his mom, because he felt that by ignoring his mom, he can ignore his Chinese heritage. And even by not speaking Chinese and trying to be American, he thinks that this Chinese American inheritance can be pushed to one side, which he is finding it very difficult to. Or as a young boy, he believed that he can. And the mother, she tried to speak English, but her accent and broken sentences, as is usual with all the beginners of English, the accent is wrong, and the broken sentences are indeed something very painful to listen to. All these embarrassed the son. So you find that the son can talk English fluently because he is learning to speak English at home from the father. He is also getting education in English from the school, and his schoolmates also speak English. So he is exposed to a lot of English, and so his accent and his sentence construction are indeed perfect. But the mother, when she tried to ignore the Chinese and tried to speak English for the sake of her son, her accent was heavy with the Chinese accent and broken sentences because she is not learning the sentence construction in the proper manner. And only after speaking fluently for a number of years, maybe she will be able to speak fluently like the son. And then mom tried to be an American mom because she understood that it is no use trying to hold on to her baby. The baby is now a young boy, and she thought that, well, if he is trying to be American, then she also will try to be an American mom. So, like all the American mom, or as is the habit, they just hug their children, and they just praise them, and there is a rapport, there is an openness which is not there in the Asian countries, because the Asian culture is totally different from that of the Western culture. So, mom is trying to be the Western mom by hugging him, but because she's not so used to it, she had not seen it in her life, and she has not practiced it early. It was done so gracelessly. There is no gracefulness for the hugging, or that flow is not there like the other American mom. And it was awkward for her. Sure, because she's coming from a totally different culture, and it is very difficult for her to abandon that all on a sudden, even though she tried very much to be an American mom. And so it was not natural. It is not coming natural to her because she has not been into the American mainstream. She kept her Chinese identity, but at the same time, for the sake of the son, she is ready to do whatever that is the Americans are doing and trying to be an American mom. But in a way, it is quite artificial, not natural. It's not coming naturally to her. Jack was annoyed, and so she stopped doing it, like hugging him. And so Jack was so irritated because what is she doing? Her English is not good. Her hugging is so awkward. She just do not know how to hug her own son, who is a young boy. And as a baby, okay. But other than that, we Asian mothers keep a certain distance from our children physically. But at the same time, we are just totally, we show our respect or our love in other ways, but not the Western women or the Western culture where hugging and kissing is just a constant factor in the household. And even now, maybe imitating the Western culture, and also maybe a lot of people say that hugging is like telling them that they are with them, and that physical contact is doing a lot of good for the children. And maybe on that, the Asian mothers are also changing now, and Asian including our own India. Okay. So the Chinese are also not different. And though she tried her level best, it was awkward for her. And Jack was annoyed with this awkwardness that she stopped doing the hugging and expressing the love for her, the love for him. Okay. So seeing all this in the household, Dad one day took him to task. "You shouldn't treat your mother that way," Dad said. So here you find that this is a warning that the father gave the son. And maybe he didn't say anything more about it because he loves his wife and also his child, and he just do not want to cause trouble for them. But the son thinks that deep in his heart he must have realized his mistake of marrying a peasant Chinese girl and bringing her to Connecticut. This part, which I am just marking now, is the thought process of the boy, the thought process of Jack, not that of Dad. Okay, so this is what he thought, because his father, deep in his heart, must have realized his mistake of marrying a peasant Chinese girl and bringing her to Connecticut. As a young boy, he just has no idea as to how Dad and Mom lived, or what is their opinion about each other, or their relationship. He just cannot understand how can Dad, an American, go and marry a peasant American, peasant Chinese girl and bring her to Connecticut. Maybe he is regretting that. The boy very arrogantly thinks so. Okay, let's wait till the end of the story to learn otherwise. Okay. And Mom learned to cook in American style. And in whatever way it is possible, she tried to be an American for the sake of her son, who protested that she must be part of the American life that they are living. And in order to look natural, the mother also should start behaving like an American. She tried to make her son happy by making a paper animal and keeping it on his nightstand every day. Every day he just crushed them and put it in the box in the attic. So, to express her love, she tried to she made paper animals every day and put it on his nightstand. The nightstand, in the sense that the stand next to his bed, and it is nightstand, okay, not night. And he just crushed them and put it in the box in the attic. So this is something that he did every day because he just do not want to see any of our paper animals. I don't want anything to do with that because he thinks that paper animals stand for Chinese culture, and he just do not want to be part of that. So he just crushed them and put it in the box even without playing with them. Finally, she got the message. Her son is no longer a baby, and she stopped making these paper animals. So finally, she was defeated, and she understood that her son is no longer a baby and he is growing up. And so she stopped making these paper animals, which she knew that he just crushed them and put it in the box, and it is in the attic. No trace of the animal should be there in his room or anywhere where his friends will be coming and seeing him. So her English was much better, but the son was not interested in talking to her, whatever be the language she used. So, because she thought that her son is not talking to her when she started talking to him in Chinese, the mother started learning English, and her English is now better, not awkward, and the accent is now better. But even then, the son was not interested in talking to her, and that is too much because the son, you remember the earlier instance when he says that he stopped talking to his mother from the time when he was in the high school on, and from there till he become a grown up man, he refused to talk to her. Whatever be the culture, this is a little bit too much, isn't it? You can't be so ashamed of your mother, and the rotten way in which the son took it out. Maybe he's getting bullied in the school, but he's taking it on the mother in a very wrong manner, and this is something that was continuing for a long, long time. And she used to sing in Chinese when she is in the kitchen. And so, whenever she was in the kitchen, she used to sing in Chinese because that's her native language. She remembers that she is not ready to abandon that, even though she acquired a new language, that is English. Okay, so without refusing her Chinese inheritance, she added to her life and to her knowledge, that is an additional language, English, and she is comfortable with both language now. In Chinese, she sings in her kitchen, and English she speaks to her son and to her husband, and it is something that she cherished. And the mother is, in a way, balancing these two cultures. So here you find that Jack, as he is growing up, felt nothing in common with her. She might as well be from the moon, that strange a creature she is. To him, she is a strange creature from the moon, from a distant planet. That kind of a strangeness he felt with his own mother. So he felt that even though he looks like his mother, he felt nothing in common with her. He is now thoroughly American. And Jack continued with his all American pursuit of happiness. So here you find that it is in a way something that he had to understand, and he is in a manner, great manner, trying to overcome the feeling that he is Chinese, partly Chinese. So you find that this is he continued with his pursuit of American happiness in the sense that trying to be one of the crowd, like the other American children. In spite of his appearance, they are now ready to adopt him because he behaved and spoke their language and behaved like one of them, ate Chinese American food and things like that. So, from these childhood memories, the readers were suddenly brought to a hospital bed, and that is you find that the memory starts from a very young child, and the narrator Jack is remembering his childhood days when he was continuously weeping, and that is where the memories start. But from those childhood memories till he reached high school when he stopped talking to his mother, we, the readers, were suddenly brought to a hospital bed, the present, maybe, or maybe the near present. The patient is mom. Dad and Jack stood on both sides, and mum is not yet 47, not even 40 even. So here you find that mum is seriously ill, and both Dad and Jack were standing on both sides of the bed, and the her illness is described in a with a limited words because it's a neglected pain, now cancer, and beyond the limits of surgery, which means that she just do not have more time, and she's not even 40 yet. And Jack was preoccupied by an on campus recruitment. So he needs to prepare himself, and he is going to get a job. And that is the main preoccupation of the youngsters when they are and after their college degree. They are preoccupied with the campus recruitment and the job, how to prepare for that, and things like that. So even when his father took him to the hospital to see, to visit mom, he's there. Just he knows that his mother is sick. But even then, there was a gap between the mother and the son, and he was not able to bridge that, and nor is he trying to. He is not even attempting to bridge the gap between his mother and himself. So here he is preoccupied with his campus recruitment, like resume, transcripts, and strategically constructed interview schedules. All these were the thoughts that were passing through his mind while dad and mom talked. Though it is wrong to think about resume, transcript, and strategically constructed interview schedules, he just couldn't change how he felt, because he felt that his mom is like a person from moon, and he is just doing an obligatory visit, and so he couldn't change how he felt about his mom, as if he has no connection at all with this woman who had given birth to him, who was cooking for him, who was taking care of him, and everything. They were living in a house, and even then, he had distanced himself from her when he was in the high school, and stopped talking to her. And that kind of distance had made him almost a stranger. So he just couldn't change how he felt about her. Again, you find that Dad held her hand with both of his, and she smiled. She assured them that she is all right. And like an American woman, she says, "This is not a big deal." That's the American form of talking. It's no big deal. And how that's the way they speak. And she assures them that she's all right. This is not a big deal. Nothing like that. There is no need to be worried about that. But Dad knew how serious she is. Jack was thinking of his flight back to the Californian sunshine, even from the hospital room. So here you find that, as he had told us earlier, he was thinking about his interview, his resume, transcript, interview method, things like that. And his flight is within a short time, and he must go back to to California. And even from that hospital room, he is thinking of these things. At her words, that is, she said this is not a big deal. Dad left her with Jack, and she said she wanted to speak to Jack after for some time. So here you find that Jack was thinking, when Dad the, uh, felt so much for mother, he just couldn't understand how could an American person feel anything for a Chinese peasant girl who just do not know English, and things like that. This is what Jack had thought, because of his superiority now as an American. He assumed that his dad is also feeling that same superiority, and he is ready to, or Jack is ready to treat his mother like a servant in the house, and much less than a servant in the house, and refuse to have anything to do with her, punishing her for handing over to him her inheritance, Chinese inheritance, which he hated. So her only request is not to feel bad when she is gone, and to keep the box in the attic, keep the box of paper menagerie, and not to feel bad. She is now assuring her son not to feel bad when she is gone. She knew that she is going to die soon, and the son is not feeling anything, but she is feeling. She is even in her deathbed. She is trying to comfort the son and say that it is going to be all right, and to keep the box in the attic, the box of paper menagerie in the attic. Moreover, she asked him to remember her every year at Qingming, that is, and that she will always be with him. You have to read the page 36. So she asked him to remember her every year at Qingming. This is a festival from China, and at this festival, she says, as she explains in her letter, Qingming is a festival, a time when it is the memory of the dead that celebrated, and from her house in America, mother used to make a paper bird, and in a paper she used to write a letter to her parents, telling them how her life in America is, and also about Jack. And she used to read it aloud to Jack because she writes in Chinese. And the boy also used to enjoy that, and he used to contribute some words, and that also she used to add to the letter to her parents. And in a way she is trying to talk to her parents who are already dead and gone, and to her family, and there is no touch with them, and this is the only way that she could keep in touch with them, remembering them at least once in a year. And this is a festival which the Chinese celebrate, which is also called the Tom Sweeping Festival. And in the modern times, also they have this festival, and in almost a lot of places like Hong Kong, Macau, Indonesia, all these places, the Chinese celebrate Qingming. And this is very important for the mother, for mom, because she is in America, quite separated from her family, and her parents are already dead and gone, and her family life, her life earlier, before marrying dad, she narrates in her letter to Jack. So Jack remembered how she used to write a letter in a paper, and that paper she will fold and make into a bird, and then together with the added comments of Jack, telling her parents every year the progress that she had made, and all that she needs to talk to them about her family, her son, her husband, and her life in America. Everything she puts into that letter and sends this letter to her parents, or this is what she feels, by letting it fly into the air to the paper bird. And this is a ritual that she continued on this particular festival, that is Qingming. Every year she used to do that with her son while he was talking to her, or on talking terms with her. After that, the boy did not ever think of that. And this is the Tom Sweeping Festival. Maybe it is a festival to remember the dead of the family. And she only asked him because she knew that she is going to die, and she just do not have much time to live. She is not asking anything from her son. She's only happy that he has come to her on her deathbed, or into the hospital, and he is listening to her at least, because she's talking in English, and she is assuring him not to worry and not to think too much, not to feel the pain, because she knew quite well that later he is going to feel very bad about it. And as she has so much of love for her son, and she just couldn't express it other than make a paper animal for him, or using that paper craft, she tried to communicate with her son. But even that also stopped after some time, when she saw the son crushing the animal and putting it into the shoebox and showing it into the attic. So she says that okay, she understands how he feels in this community, and she is not blaming him anytime. You'll find that that kind of accusation, nothing is there, because the boy just do not remember the mother ever taking him to task. So this is the way she has, and so she just asks him to remember her at least once a year, and that too at Qingming, this festival, the Tom Sweeping Festival, and that she will always be with him. She will be always with him. Even after she is dead, she will always be with him. That's a mother's love. And these are words that she really wanted to speak to her son. And she had sent her husband away from there, and she really wanted to communicate with her son. And the son was not feeling anything because he is so preoccupied with his campus interview and things that he had to do, and also the interview that he had to attend to, and all those things. And in a way, he is only half listening to her, and that is that too, the fact that after some time he'll be leaving this place, and everything to do anything to do with her, he's not going to come back to her, and she also knows that she is not going to meet him anymore. And so she just has only one request, and it is a request, and that is to remember her at Qingming. And so you find here that this woman had spent her time with her son and tried to hold on to him and to her life in a strange country, because maybe she felt that he is the nearest to her family, because she is separated from her family. In a world of strangers, apart from her husband, he is the only person who is nearest to her in her family. And this is the manner in which she regarded him, not just as a son that she had, but as a representative of her parents, her siblings, everyone. This boy stood in their place, and so this mother cherished him. And it is that culture which this boy abandoned, and even then she did not accuse him. She is trying to rise herself above all her reluctance and all the stumbling blocks before her. She is not learned, she is not that educated, she doesn't know English well, only Chinese, and even from there she is trying to be with him and with her husband, and trying to talk to them in American English, and also try to behave like an American mom. She is trying her level best, but she is successful only to a certain extent. But still, she was trying, and that trying continued. Even then, the son refused to talk to her. So, in a way, you find a pathetic situation, which is that situation is not revealed too much now, because the mother is asking him to remember at Qingming, and I'm just giving an explanation like this, but the real explanation lies in her letter. The letter is something that we'll deal with in the next class. So here you find a lot of things to remember, and the Chinese American inheritance that you have learned from your introduction to literature classes, where you find a lot of people from ignored people, not just Chinese American, but also the other community that are there in America, and marginalized to a certain extent, and their life and their way of being there, existing in America, is exposed through this particular short story. So when you read the story, you'll have to understand that it is American as well as Chinese, and culture just do not matter when two people find themselves. Even though the father ordered her from a catalog, and the son felt uh, really too bad about being there in a catalog. How wretched can you be to be there in the catalog, so that another man can order from the catalog, like you order things from the Amazon and things like that. So it is in the like Flipkart and Amazon. You order things, and they have a catalog of the beauties that are there, the things and their beauty. In the same manner, the American had ordered his bride from a catalog, and the catalog had given a vivid description of the young girl, saying that she can speak English well. And so it is, how can she be? As a young boy, he knows that you'll have to be in the lowest of low in order to be there in the catalog, to be ordered by an American, and come over as someone who can cook and clean for him. And this man, that is his father, made him his wife, and they have started living. So his dad was so very noble and magnanimous, and he was very much in love with his Asian wife or Chinese wife, that the boy did not understand at that time, because he was thinking only in terms of American and Chinese. He is not thinking in terms of two people, and it is that which mattered here. So he failed to understand this rapport between the American dad and the Chinese mother. He saw them only as American and Chinese. So this is where he went wrong. So you find the short story leading life a light to the life of these people and how it is in America and what happens to the children and their attitude towards their parents of mixed heritage. And you will learn more about it towards the end of this short story, and that will be in the next class. Okay, thank you.